Sit back and relax. We'll watch this tango. You'll understand what I'm talking about. And probably no more angry faces, I would imagine, from that. So, you ready? Let's roll. Whoa. Yeah. This is even better the second time around. I've seen this so many times. Okay, so y'all could see that now. Good. We're all in the same place, I hope. Whoa, right. That is amazing as a tango. So listen, here's a couple of little bits and pieces and some feedback. So if anyone's dancing out there, they can sort of watch some takeaways from this. One of the things I do with my students very often is I was raised with a fantastic technical coach who had an she learned from Alex Moore, who wrote the technique book in ballroom dancing. And then we went to train with the coaches that trained Mirko and Alessia. And, and subsequently pretty much every other champion in England. And then the sort of combination of those two skills plus the videos that we would digest were sort of three ways that we developed our dancing. So let me give you some tips that will really help you when you're watching these videos, okay? Because often you're watching, you're like, holy crap, so much happening. And first of all, there's a lot of amazing tango fundamentals in this. It's incredible. True masters and unbelievable dancing. Truly unbelievable. And like I said earlier, and my criticism remains the same about modern dancing, that is a tango. You can tell it's a tango. It doesn't look like a weird waltz. Gone wrong. So there's two things I'll point out here that are really cool. But one of the ways you want to look at these videos and use these videos to your benefit is sort of forget what they're specifically dancing, because you probably have some of those steps in your routines, but that doesn't matter. Look at some of the aspects. So for example, you can look at Alessia and how still her body position is relative to Mirko all the time. That takes a lot of practice, of course, but there's no gap, right? They don't widen. So that's a basic idea, right? But they don't widen from each other. That's one thing. Another thing is how still the heads are. So anytime you need to create a turn when there's a lot of like centrifugal and centripetal force because of the energy in the turn, you are going to have a problem of separation. And of course, the heads will like to come in and you want them to go out and balance the turn. So what ends up happening is you need to have very stable posture and head positions to create turns. So for example, have a look at this pivot at the beginning. I'll just turn the volume down. By the way, leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing, what you think about this. I've never done this type of format. Let me know if you like it. So, pivot's coming up around here, I think. Here. Boom, 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 boom. Do you see that? Like, so very, very still in the bodies, but then there's this idea of what I like to call I go, you go. So the man initiates the turn, and the lady is coming around the man, then the man comes around the lady. So it's not this forceful act of the man like dominating the lady and making that woman turn, right? So they're working in harmony, and you can see that when they create their turns. If you just watch it again, this is how you'll use a video, by the way. You take a section of like, oh, I do something like that, and you stop it, you watch it, and you look for a certain aspect, and then you watch it again and again, and then you go try it, right? You got to try it. Don't just watch it. Don't be a consumer. Try it. Here's the pivot again. Here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see there's like a rhythm in it, right? So it's like he goes, she goes, he goes, she goes. And that's key to turning. And remember, advanced rotations are very strong. Not advanced rotations. Figures with rotations are typically very advanced. So when you've got strong rotation like that, it's very hard to do for many, many reasons. So the point is that just use it that way. There's another cool part here, which is more on the musicality side. So something that we can all work towards with our dancing. And that is the way that he smashes the feeling of the music, right? Like in the timing. So I'll show you where it comes up. It's somewhere here. It's one of my favorite things. I remember this from Blackpool. I watched him in Blackpool. I was like, oh my God, how does he do this? Like, it's unbelievably skilled. And so let me just bring it up. Boom, boom. Here. Listen to the music. Cool. Bang. Bang. Boom. So like, do you notice how it's like like hits all the accents, like hits the crescendos, right? That is when tango feels amazeballs, right? Like you do that, it's like a dance orgasm. It's amazing, right? Like so much has to line up for you and your partner for that to work. It's not just like your feet, your technique, right? Like I'll get some love on that. That's good. But it is. It's like, so much has to work. Because if you separate a little bit, you end up, you smash each other, right? You bash each other in the legs. That's not a good feeling. It's a horrible feeling. It's when you hate dance. But that type of moment is one thing that everybody should aspire to feel in their dancing at some point, in tango particularly, right? Is that stop-start action, because there's a fair amount of legato, which is like when you stretch the music, the slows are very long. And then I think, I want to get this wrong. It's not retardo, it's rubato, I think, when you sort of go off time, then back on. And then the staccato, which is stop, start, which is what tango is known for. But you use all those essentially. So anyways, when you're watching videos, you look for things like that and you go, oh, why is that so good? And then you go into the studio and you try that, right? You try that yourself. Say, I've got an idea, come here. And then you fail miserably and you try again. And you try again. And you get the little pieces of technique and tips, like in my coaching programs and things like that, on what can actually help you to get that next level. Okay, so think about it logically, and then go and apply it, all right, physically and practically. It's very, very important. And I think there was one more part of this, which was pretty cool. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but he added some foxtrot in here. Because he likes to do this. That's there. Here. Feather step. Yeah, do that. Cool. So that's just a little thing he likes to do. I think I've seen him do that in other dances. So very cool. Just goes with the music. Anyway, so next one I want to show you is the samba. All right. Love some sambamba. What do you think of this format? Leave me a comment. I need a little bit of feedback if you think this is a cool idea. If you want to know more like this, there's always so much insight you can garner from this. But like I have stressed to my students, like, watch these videos, know who these people are. Like, how can you improve your own dancing if you don't know who the masters are, who the past were, where technique has come from, and it really hasn't changed. There's been a lot of developments, I suppose, in mechanics and movement, but not so much in the fundamentals. Pretty much so many of those steps, you could have that choreography as an advanced dancer yourself. Would it look like that? No, and that's where the work is, right? So study, application of those principles, and having a burning desire to make that happen is what separates a lot of these people. And then there's some people that are blessed by the finger of God in dance, and that's what we try to unpackage. Okay, so listen, let's go into the samba. Yeah, let's rock this one out. You ready? Let's go. Oh, we don't want to go there. Boom. Okay. Wow. Okay. So there's the thing I've always appreciated about Franco is the speed and the risks this dude takes. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack in that. So, but first of all, what do you think? Right? Cool dancing. 'Cause, I mean, look, you don't have to like it. I'm just gonna pick videos of people that I know and like I look at and respect, and I also know a little bit of history and background of these people, and so it's so hard to dance like that. It takes so much work, and this is why you can eat whatever you want. If you dance like that, you will never gain weight, right? So it's just so much in there. Okay, cool. So, and Oxana, mwah, you are amazing and beautiful. Look at that. Look at that movement. Very feminine, super strong, right? Like got that softness, but like really holds her own. This is the thing about dancing with Latin American in a way. Like, so ballroom dancing. So I did 10 dance, right? So it's ballroom and Latin. Basically, you're indecisive. You like both styles. But you also don't necessarily specialize, right? Like to the high degree that dancing's gotten to now because of the difficulty and just the sheer volume of training you have to do for a style, right? So when I started dancing in 2001, 2002, I saw a video, probably 2003 or 4, of Franco, Maurizio, Peter Stockenbro, Ricardo Cocchi, and a couple of other gentlemen who don't dance anymore, but they were all amateur world finalists, and I remember watching it going, holy shit, is that how you're supposed to dance, right? So I watched that and went, I don't even know how to do a cha-cha yet. I've just started dancing, but that's what I would love to be able to get close to, right? So you need the inspiration. Watch the videos. Very, very important. Get the inspo. Then go, don't say to yourself like, oh, I could never do that, unless you're like 84 in a wheelchair, right? So that doesn't help. But try to garner like, and I remember I would do this a lot. I would look at Franco, got like his skills, fast, right? Got rhythm, speed, body tick, all those things that characterize Samba. Fantastic fundamentals, right? So then partnering and communication, all that stuff is there. But there's a style, right? So how do you develop a style? You might look at someone the way they use their hands, right? The way they hold their face, okay? And you literally take that aspect and then you go in the studio and try and work on it. And do you notice I'm saying something? You've got to go in the studio and do the work, right? Many people don't understand this part. They do their routines in the studio, which is not the same thing. So they go in the studio and learn a lesson. A lesson teaches technique. And the technique is the thing they practice. That isn't what I'm talking about. I am literally talking about trying how to dance like that. So you go in and you emulate, you model, you copy something, but you take it small. So just look, I'll give you an example. Watch the beginning here, yeah. So, all right, yeah, let's rock this out. Okay, I'll turn the volume down. I think it should go down if I do this. Let me know if my mic goes off here. Very important, I don't screw this up twice. Okay, so look, besides her dress, I know women always comment on the dresses and things. Just try to watch the dancing, yeah? Right. Okay. What did you notice about her dancing, right? It can be distracting, I get it. I totally get it, right? Especially having beers and watching dance. Terrible life, but... Did you see that little bump in the chest? That's called a vibration. Check it out again on the whisk. Body tick. Here we go. And boom, there. Right. You probably would miss it if you didn't know I pointed it out. That's the sort of stuff you have to see because it makes a difference. Now, when you go do a whisk, which is a fundamental that I taught tonight in my studio to literally just beginner dancers, I got them to do body rolls, body ripples, and then try to add that in as they dance. It's really hard, but that's how you do it, right? That's how you start to challenge yourself to get to like another level. And you're not going to do it at first. That's how it works, but you try. You copy video or you look at an aspect, I'm going to do that because the grounding's the same, right? The footwork should be the same. The timing should generally be the same. There's no new technique necessarily. So what is happening is a couple takes time and puts in the work to create their own style, right? Their own feeling and flavor. And that is why it's so difficult when you're working with a couple who finds a style like this and they ended up breaking up and going with different. Maybe I'll do another video like that. I'll show her dancing with a different gentleman. What's his name? Pasha. And you can see the total difference. Pasha, beautiful dancer with her. Like they look good together, I think. So that's a good move. But do they look the same? Right? No. And why would they? It's like a chef doesn't cook the exact same meal as another chef, right? Even with the same ingredients. So you have to understand that when you find a person who actually works with you properly, who looks good with you, who can actually tolerate you, that's a big one. What? I just said that. Yeah. Someone has to be able to put up with your bullshit, mate. You, the dude, because it's generally us guys who are assholes. We're the ones that push too hard and generally like cause problems, by looking at other women. Don't do that too much, right? And so that's just what happens in the nature, right? And so it's very fickle trying to make a partnership work because when you find it, man, it's rare. But then it takes decades or years at least to make that thing work. So if you have a partner right now, you go give them a high five because if they are working with you, man, it is so rare and it's really difficult to maintain. And a lot of guys think they can just go get another one and then the results drop and they never get back. It's very difficult. So when you see people like this, it's easy to say, I don't like her dress, I don't like her dancing. Oh my God, that's not the point, right? You can't dance like that. So why don't you just shut the fuck up and look at it and go, what can I do? And what can I be inspired by, right? So I think that matters more than you comparing dancers against dancers. I think it's a weird waste of time. This is about study. So, okay, now there's another thing here. One thing with Franco that I think is great from a male perspective with dancing is balls to the wall, right? It's a great Australian expression, right? What it means is that you're fundamentally going out and taking risks when you move. So you got your routine, you know your timing, but this dude don't hold back. I'm going to give you a tiny detail here. You can see this in other demonstrations where he executes like really fast, like spins and like jumps in the air, and, like a washing machine. Sometimes he doesn't quite land it, but that doesn't matter. He goes out for the audience, and I think that's a great performance aspect. Last night I had a video on performance. I think it's great to watch. So there is a part here where they go side by side. I'll let it play again just to see. here. See how he jumped forward just a little bit? This is not nitpicking, but what I'm saying is that he's so on the edge of failure that is great, right? Like that is, it's not about the tripping. That's nothing like that. It's understand the idea, right? He's not holding back. And this is what too many people do when they go to perform. This could be speaking, singing, auditioning, auctioneering. I know it's random, right? But like, it takes guts to speak in front of people, and particularly when you're dancing. And you gotta challenge yourself to go that little bit extra without over dancing. And sometimes there's over dancing, but that is the joy, and people love that shit. So if you're a performer who's ready to go to a comp on the weekend and you're worried about what people think of you, do the opposite and actually go lean right into it. Like go hard, and you'll start to notice like, everyone makes mistakes, but professionals, we just cover that shit better, right? So we just like do more spirit fingers, and we're able to like maintain a recovery from it. Actually, I'm getting ideas now. Like, he has some of the best recoveries I've ever seen on the dance floor, like slipping over and shit and like adding it into the routine. It's like, bro, my man, like you can't even practice that. That's amazing. So, and again, that comes back to like mastery, right? Like an understanding like your skill set and those sorts of things. So anyway, very cool. Now there's another step here from a technical point of view that I really, I know I had a lot of trouble with dancing myself. And this is, again, something that I know students might really, really appreciated noticing these details. So check this out, right? There's the back rocks. Anyone do back rocks in Samba? Check this out. Cruzados. Here we go. Okay, so there. Now, I want you to notice how loose his arm is. This is really good, a really good idea for you to think about when you dance. Okay, so there's something called tone, and in Latin American dancing, we have 4 types of leads, right? Do you know what they are? Write them in the window. What are the 4 types of leads? Let's come back to that in a second. What are the 4 types of leads in Latin American dancing? So let's go back and look at this one more time. Watch the looseness in his arm. Here, right? So that's the right arm. That shit is just like hanging, but it's not, because like there is actually an elasticity in it. Okay, so what were the 4 types of leads? We have weight changing leads, we have shape leads, we have physical leads and visual leads, right? So so like a shape lead is an example, it's like an American spin and jive, or an alemana and cha-cha and rumba, where the shape of your arm and the tone of it makes the lady turn, and she has no choice but to turn, right? That is what we call a shape lead. And so the shape of the lead itself is what dictates where the lady goes and what she does. So in a weight change or a physical lead, which are pretty much interchangeable in a way, are you know, like when you're in open position and you lead a lady to rock back. So for example, a weight change there in that moment is the right hand. If you were just a normal dancer, you would hold the lady's back, and your right hand and your left hand, as an example, would have the exact same pressure into the lady's hand and back. And as you move, you would rock and pull the lady back and forward, and everything would sort of be held in the same amount of tension. Do you understand? So it's like there's zero. So all you're doing is sort of literally rocking, and then you might try and move your hips independently, and it gets super fucking awkward, right? Like, it's just, the lady's like, what are you doing to me? Right? And then, so what you got to do is you actually have to have an elasticity in your hands, right? So you have to have this, put your hands up, right? And just feel your fingers relax when you go back and forward like that. It gives you an idea of elasticity. So when you dance, you actually try to use pressure through your feet. This is key, right? Pressure through the balls of your feet, pressure into the floor, and then you use the center of your body, like where the hips are. Isn't the hip rhythm is important, obviously, to sort of put the pulse of the beat into your movement. The arms, the extremities must be loose, right? And they're not relaxed to this extent you can't hold them up. But there's a tonality in them, and tonality is different to tension, right? So tension grips, it's really tight, and then tension grips, it's really tight, and tone is a sliding scale, right? So it's not black or white, it's gray, all in between, and different shades. And so you use it depending on how much you want to dance. Now try this in any of your dance moves. Like when you notice the difference between holding floppily, and another Australian word, and then holding very tightly and gripping, right? And then you find somewhere in between, you can get this elasticity in your arms, which is connected to your center, connected to your movement. And what happens is you end up creating this beautiful back and forward. Now, in the back rocks, they're really, really hard to do. Yeah, they're really difficult movement to do. But to do them well, I should say, right? You can grab anyone and throw them around. But the feeling of going back and forward I always think it's just a good thing to point out, because then you can go and try it in certain aspects. And just remember, there's 4 different types of leads, so you're not always needing the same idea. You don't want to be like that through all the other steps. This little foot flick that I paused on is pretty cool, because that's not part of it. That's just a nice feeling, you know? And I suppose when you're in the zone, you can do whatever the hell you want. But I would say, as you go forward into your dancing today, tomorrow, this week, as you practice, check out my video I did yesterday on, I can't remember what I called it. I think it was, oh my goodness. Someone posted it in the window if you could. It is about owning your space on the floor. And that's very important, because this is about an awareness thing, right? So when you go in the studio, you need to focus on one aspect. So it might be the way you use your hands, and then the attention that's in them, for example. Now, what you'll notice, this happens to people. It depends on where you are, right, on your dance scale. So if you're right at the beginning of dancing, none of what I'm saying today matters, because you're just so macro in your movements, you're going to suck. And so you have fun learning, right? Because you're learning everything very blocky, everything moves together as one. But if you're sort of somewhere in the mid-tier to sort of upper tier to higher skill level, you will be able to compartmentalize your body a bit better, right? You'll be able to, for example, relax your arms and then just move your hips and body with a lot of strength, but it won't come up into your arms, into your partner, right? So that's an example of being a different level of dancer and skill. Anyway, the point is that I want you to just be hyper aware of what your body feels like when you actually go to move. You're creating too much tension or too much tone. When you do Samba, I want you to be aware of being loose, right? So you go through the motions. We'll just tighten this down. See, turning the volume off also helps, by the way. So if you turn the volume off, you're not distracted by the music. So, it's not a distraction, but you know what I mean. Now, another thing that is often neglected or feared, depending on how you look at it, is the look at the body position, right? So his arms are way behind his body. So flexibility, important, right? But the strength of that attitude of coming forward, right? And she reacts to that. That's a connection follow thing we might do. We could do videos on connection too, by the way, and reacting to your partner and those sorts of things. But that's really, really high level. You have to be such good control of yourself as a dancer to do that. And if you're a little bit off balance, you get jolted out of connection and you get jolted into your body. And what did I do wrong, right? And you know this, right? You know this. If you trip, you lose a bit of balance. What happens? You get shocked, right, out of your brain or out of your body into what did I do wrong? And there's no connection anymore. There's no musicality, right? So there's a lot you need to fix to get to that level of really deeply creating a connection as a partner. Now, if you're there, that's cool. Let me know. I'm happy to make those sort of videos too, so know what to aspire to, what I've learned over the years. But that idea there of just stretching your arms. So if your hands are one thing and you go, I don't want to do that. The other thing you can do is you can stretch your arms to like oblivion, and just, it's going to feel ridiculous when you do this, by the way. So when you take a movement and you put your arms into a position like that, but then each time you do a movement, so if we continue on, all right, let's watch this next bit, right? So boom, boom. So look at that right arm of hers, right? It's bang, that shit is out. Okay, it's behind her body almost, right? So bang, chicka, boom. Yep, finishing each step. I know it sounds obvious, but when you hear the phrase from your teacher, finish your steps, it doesn't just mean, are you ready for this? It doesn't just mean your feet, okay? It means the extension from your spine up to your head. It means your head weight where it's looking. It means your hands, your arms, your fingers, all of that together in a position that matches the alignment of your body in the step. So all of it has to be finished, not just one thing, right? And that creates a shape, and that shape communicates a feeling, right? And then as you pulse through that with different movements and different rhythms and different interchanging feelings and like excitement, that's when you create like awesome dancing, yeah? And you don't need to be that level to do this. You can try this now. You just have to have some courage or some balls, and you need to go for it, right? You really need to go for it and not be like, oh, I look ridiculous. That's what amateurs are like. Don't do that, right? Don't do that to yourself. Try things, right? Try things, because part of what we have to do as dancers is experiment. And I honestly wish someone told me this earlier. I really did not understand this, but God damn, it would have helped a lot. You have to be willing to experiment. So when they're dancing, right? Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, let's just look at this, yeah? So what are they doing here? Okay, all right. Bachata's for her. He's doing whisks, right? Going into promenade runs to counter promenade runs. Okay, right? These are all syllabus steps. Okay, you do these in medals, syncopated pivots, right? Voltas, slow timing, volta, bang. That's a cool set, right? So they've got their own things. Stationary Samba walks up in there, boom. Going into like Crossover walks and locks, right? These are all steps right? Like you learn over time. So, but why does it look different to maybe what you're doing, right? Well, part of it is that ability to pulse your body, to practice the unknown, right? Like to let your body go, to really make a lot of mistakes. And the experimenting is a word I wish I was taught earlier, and I'm encouraging you to experiment. Take your routine, stretch it out, really, really stretch it out. Get your fingers out. You're like, oh, that hurts my arm. Oh my God, don't say shit like that. Like, of course it's going to hurt you. It's going to stretch you. You're going to be sore tomorrow. You're going to have cramps. Okay, that's how it works, right? And so as you go through it, though, you're going to notice the difference. If you have mirrors, that's good. Videotape yourself, though, so you get a 3D aspect. Does that terrify you? Yeah. What do you guys think? Like, leave me some comments and questions below. I'd like to know your questions if you have any. I'd like to know if you've got any thoughts on this, what you think of this episode idea. I'd like to do more of these if you think it's cool. Otherwise, I won't waste my time. But the idea of experimenting and then taking an aspect from a video is very, very helpful. And then you identifying yourself your own weakness. So maybe you have bad posture. Maybe you have bad spinning prowess. Maybe you're not good with your arm styling. And then you will pick a lady you like or a man you like, and then you take that aspect, and for like a week you try using bits and pieces in that by experimenting in your current choreography and in free movement. Now, that in and of itself is one of the secrets to how I develop very fast in my dancing. And it's something that I teach all my students. And the ones that actually do it and listen, because they don't all listen, right? They go back to habit. The ones that do listen, experiment and experience the most profound progress. Okay, so I hope that works for you too. Now let's finish off the dancing, shall we? It's good to see. What did you say here? It's good to see dance videos in this productive way. A beginner question: any tip to understand the time that they are following? No, because unless you understand what they're dancing, you're not going to know their timing. That is such a complicated answer to give on YouTube in that sense, because when it comes to timing, it's so specific to the routine, right? And I'll give you an example. Okay, so no, hold on. I'm going to paraphrase this. I was thinking of the choreography. When it comes to choreography, like that's pretty easy to count away. Like there's going to be little, like I wouldn't be able to count it exactly accurate to everything that they would have written down. But Samba, for example, you need to know the timing of Samba. So in music, you look for, you need to understand this, right? How many beats are in a bar? Okay. Was the speed, which is called tempo. And then you understand the basics from there. So for example, there's 2/4 timing in Samba. So we count like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's do a little game. This is fun. Can you hear that? Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So we know that there is 2 beats in a bar, and then 4 bars in a measure of music, which makes a count of 8. So 1, a 2, 3, a 4, 5, a 6, 7, a 8 is our very standard bass time of Samba. Now, there's 8 different rhythms in Samba, which makes it hard to look at a routine and go, oh, that's the timing they're using. Cha-cha's easier. It's like 2, 3, 4, and 1. Then you have syncopated beats, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So, but you don't deviate, right? So in Samba, we have slows and quicks and slows, 1, 2, 3 timing, and 1 or 2. And they actually mean different things. So these 8 rhythms of Samba, make a different feeling. And you know what? I'm going to go on this a little bit more. So stay with me. Give me a bit of love. Right? Give me a little bit of love. Hit that like. Tell your friends. Passively aggressive. Send this to your partner. Be like, we need to experiment more. But I'm going to show you something here, right? So the difference in some of the rhythms, right? To give you an example, we'll use two key elements that you will come across in your dancing. So first is the whisk. Okay? Here. 1. I'll count. Sorry, let me count it from the beginning. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I didn't count her dancing, but that was just sort of the idea. Count 1 to 8 in the music. Count 1, 2, which is your bounce rhythms. If she was doing, look at her bachata rhythms, right? So what you got here? What you got? 7 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, even those syncopated pivots, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right? So there's so much going on there, and I didn't count that exactly right. But the point is that bounce rhythm, up and down, basics, whisks, voltas, have literally a bounce up and down. And then your bachata rhythm, very different rhythm, bouncing, pulsing back and forward. And then you have, of course, 1, 2, 3 timing, which is like a little arc, which is the promenade to counter promenade runs. That's why they look a little different to the bounce rhythms, yeah? So that's what you learn through technique, right, and steps. When you look at these back rocks that are about to come up a bit later here, there. So, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick. So, slow, quick, quick timing, right? That's the feeling of a back rock. Okay, so the point is that layer it like this. Count 1 to 8 in your dancing, yeah? That's all beginners, okay? 1 to 8. Then write your routine down, top to bottom, and ask your teacher the counts of that. And so note the timing differences between, say, a polka rhythm, which is a back rock, slow, quick, quick, and then a bounce rhythm like a whisk, 1, 2, or a botafogo, 1, 2, or a stationary samba walk, 1, 2, and then there will be a difference in the way it's danced because of that rhythm. That's what to understand. Now, if you are an advanced dancer, any shout out to advanced dancers out there? Anyone there that's watching this is like, yeah, I'm an advanced dancer. Okay, the way you count your dancing is actually going to be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8, because in your body you have always something happening, and the way that an advanced dancer treats dancing, advanced mastery level dancers like this, is you have a body rhythm and then you move, right? So it's not your feet, then you move, which is what beginners do, right? Your body pulses, you get a feeling, then you move your feet into position. So, and that's what you use the arc counts for, like a settling action. They use the ands like a transferring weight, and the whole counts as a step. And that's sort of how advanced dancers develop their dancing, right? So if that made no sense to you, that's cool. That's why you're not an advanced dancer, right? So we get to that point later on, like playing a guitar. You can't just like smash out Metallica solos in the first year of learning to play a guitar. You probably can, but you're not going to sound that good, right? Because it's time, right? Time is what you need with the right type of practice. And tonight has been the right type of practice. You have your routine, you have your lessons. And if you are very new to dance, then you do those consistently and build the habit. But very soon, layer on top a little bit of what are you trying to achieve, and look at what you see the dance to represent. So if you look at Samba, you look at that and go, that doesn't look like the tango that I just had on. Why? Okay. Why doesn't that look like a cha-cha? That's a good question, because beginner dancers all the dances look the same. And then as you become amateur and professional, you separate out. If someone dancing a cha-cha, if they're dancing it well, doesn't look like a jive. And so the reason for that is the understanding of rhythm and their technique and the differences between steps. And so you play with that. That's the experiment, right? You have fun with that, and you're going to fuck it up. Do it. Like, that's okay. You're okay to make mistakes. It's called art, right? It's not logic. It's art. You make mistakes. There are people that won't like their dancing. Like, who cares, right? So people won't like your dancing. Well, what does that matter, right? So the idea is that you practice with that experimental phase in mind, and then you keep coming back to my channel. Yes. Okay, cool. Because I'll help you out, right? I got you back. So you see this little thing in the window, ballroommastery.tv for access. Support the channel. If you want technique tips, how to actually dance all these steps, plus a lot more, that's where I teach that. And then, of course, you can support the channel through YouTube if that is your preferred method. But it's been amazing having you here. Let's finish off this dance and a little maraca party for everyone, right? Get your maracas going. These are your maracas. Yeah, you just do this when Samba comes on. Bum, 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 bum. All right, it's been awesome having you here. Let me know what you think. Here we go.